The Santaland display was shutting early because of the weather. From the outdoor speakers mounted on the courthouse, Christmas music played, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." She bit her bottom lip, so dry and cracked from the cold wind that it hurt. The hot tears she'd been battling spilled over the rim of her lower lids and trickled down her face. Hopeless. Everything was hopeless. She fisted her hands against the baby's back. If only she didn't have him to worry about. Closing her eyes, she groaned. That server was right. She was a horrible, horrible mother. She sucked in a deep breath of frigid air and opened her eyes. A white church spire topped with a cross rose up behind the buildings on the square. Grammy used to take her to church every Sunday. Her grandmother liked to sit in the front row to be closer to God. "Sorry, Grammy," she whispered, her heart plunging into her throat. "Right now I'm as far away from God as I can get." She'd tried praying. Oh yes, she had. But God must have turned his back on her, because she'd had no answers, and her problems kept stacking up like cordwood. Maybe the church spire is an answer. She'd seen a program on TV that said churches were considered safe havens. A place to anonymously leave your baby if you couldn't take care of it. The only catch was that there had to be someone around to find the baby, or it would be considered child endangerment, or so the program had said. That is, if she was remembering correctly. Trembling now, at her wit's end, she walked toward the white steeple sticking up out of the darkness, with no real plan. The wind slashed her face, and she ducked her head to shield the baby, cradling him to her chest. She could feel his little heart beating against hers. If only things were different. But they weren't, were they? She walked a block, turned right, then left, another block, and there it was. The First Presbyterian Church of Twilight. The church looked old, like it had been built back in the cowboy days, but it had a fresh coat of paint and was decked in holiday decorations, including an elaborate nativity scene on the front lawn, complete with live animals milling around in a wooden corral. Her gaze fell on the straw bed where the baby Jesus lay nestled, surrounded by life-sized plastic figures of Mary, Joseph, the 3 wise men, and 5 shepherds. The bed looked really warm, and it was located underneath a shelter out of the wind. Should she? Could she? Her heart was pounding a million beats a second, and her face was so cold she could scarcely breathe. But how could she leave the baby when there was no one around to find him? Despair knocked against her chest, a hollow, numb feeling that bewildered and frightened her. She chewed a ragged fingernail, gnawing off the chipped polish. Cotton candy daydreams. Last year, Grammy had put the polish in her Christmas stocking. This year there would be no stocking, no presents, no loving grandmother. Nothing. Fresh tears welled in her eyes, stinging her cheeks. "I'm not leaving you for good," she mumbled, trying to convince herself it was true. "Just until I can find a safe place for us to stay. This is the best thing for right now." The sound of voices sent her shrinking into the shadows, hiding in the thick shrubbery surrounding the church. She crouched, grateful that the baby was sleeping. He was such a good boy. He deserved a good mother, a mom who knew how to love him the right way. He deserved a good dad and a happy home, too. All things she couldn't give him. Salty tears filled her mouth as her heart broke. Okay. She would do this, but only if the people looked nice and kind. Otherwise, she'd wait until someone else came along. The voices grew louder. From around the opposite side of the church, closest to where the animals were penned, 2 people appeared. The guy was really tall and looked to be the age of her dad when she'd last heard from him. Kinda old, 30-ish. The woman was younger and not much taller than she was. 5'4", maybe? She wore black motorcycle boots, thick black leggings, a short red plaid skirt, and a cute white ski jacket. Dope outfit. She had wicked fashion sense. "You should have worn..."